Hello and welcome back to Onto the Ball. I'm the host Scott Nichol and I'm joined as always by James OB and Travis Morgan. We're here today to preview the Liverpool versus Everton Merseyside Derby on Monday night. Liverpool hopefully are going to be rejuvenated, revitalised, confidence boosted by the encouraging pictures online. OB, Virgil van Dijk is back in full training, Bobby Firmino, Diogo Jota and the perennial Arta Mello. If we don't win this, Trav's going to say we've got nowhere to hide if any of them are near the starting lineup, which I think we're going to put Virgil van Dijk straight back in. I imagine Jota would make the bench. And I think Firmino would make the bench as well if we stick with Gakpo, Nunes, and the ineffective Mo Salah. I'm not looking forward to the game, especially now that Sean Dyche has come in and beat the league leaders Arsenal. I can smell the danger. I can smell just the way we're playing at the minute. I'm not looking forward to it at all. And I can literally picture the headlines on Tuesday morning. I can literally write Trav's voice note into the group. He won't even wait till Tuesday morning. He'll send us one Monday night and I probably won't play it. So... what's your thoughts heading into the game, OB? Are you as scared as I am, or are you encouraged by the training ground photos and thinking, come on, this is finally going to be the turning point of our season? We've been saying it for 3 months.
I'm looking forward to the game. I am looking forward to it because every game's an opportunity for us to get something back on what we are capable of, and where we've been previously. I think the Dyche is limited with what he can do with that bunch. He obviously managed to raise the game at home, opening game against Arsenal. I think Liverpool are way too much for him. I think we should have the beating of them. We've got the players that are capable of beating them. And Klopp will have had a little bit of time on the training ground to work out what was going on. So if you think about it, we played, last Saturday? We're not playing again till Monday. That's 9 days.
Yeah,
and that hasn't happened very often. And for me, I think if ever there's an opportunity, it'd be now. Lots of players back, as you say, training, getting back to full fitness. Let's bring it on. Let's do it. I just hope that they've used the time well, and let's just get ourselves on the pitch and show what we're made of. Stick some of the criticism up on the wall, you know what I mean, and some of the comments. And let's just go out there and let's blow Everton away like we do pretty much every year.
Yes, let's have it. I did say on the last stream, OB, I am expecting, because it's the Merseyside Derby, if any players are tossing it off and swinging the lead, I think pride will take over and we'll up our game against Everton. And I'm not sure if that will make me happy or sad, because I'm thinking it might make me sad because I think that proves you've been swinging the lead in the other games. But for now, all I want's the 3 points. And Everton, I watched the game. I don't know if you did, Trav, against Arsenal, but when I went on, a few of my friends that are Arsenal fans, they were more scathing at the Arsenal performance rather than saying that Everton were fantastic. And I did think that myself. I've been Odegaard's biggest fan. Partey, Xhaka, they were ineffective is the word I was using.
Yeah, I think in that game, I didn't watch that live because I was out on Saturday afternoon, lunchtime. But I did watch sort of extended highlights of that game. I think the thing is about a game like that, when Everton play against like a Liverpool or an Arsenal, they do need a little bit of luck to beat those teams anyway. So I think going into Monday night's game, I think Everton will certainly be full of confidence. Going into that game from last Saturday, they've more or less had a similar time off against playing against Arsenal. Going into this game, they've had plenty of rest, so I'm actually looking forward to the game. I think it'll be a good game. I do think it's a game that Liverpool will win ultimately, but I do think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think the injuries returning for Liverpool is a huge boost. I think they've missed Van Dijk massively in terms of his leadership. Not just the back line, but in front of him as well, because he'll be orchestrating where sort of the DM sort of needs to go, and he'll be talking, and he's just that commanding figure, that intimidating presence. Just even in the tunnel, you look across and you see Van Dijk in the tunnel. as a striker, you just think you're not going to get much change. You just don't fancy it. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's got that aura about him. You certainly definitely missed him for sure. But I think Everton will go into the game and they'll approach it similar to the Arsenal game, really, in terms of sort of being very tight, very organised in midfield. They've got a lot of legs in there with Idrissa Gueye and Onana and Decore. And again, I think in terms of the midfield battle, that's going to be crucial for Liverpool. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of team Klopp puts out to sort of combat against the physicality of Everton. Not necessarily in terms of the creativity side. I think Liverpool have got better players. But in terms of the game being an engine room, obviously you've been very heavily reliant upon the likes of Jordan Henderson and Fabinho to give you that sort of impetus in terms of the pressing and setting the tone in there. And I think Everton's midfield is probably their strongest area of the pitch. So I think it's going to be very, very intriguing to see how Klopp approaches that from a midfield sense. I think Van Dijk, like you said, will go straight back into the team. The fullbacks sort of pick themselves. And then the front line, I can't see him risking like a Jota or Firmino this early. Like you said, I think they'll be on the bench for the game. I think he'll go with what he's been going with, Núñez, Gakpo and Mo Salah. And then we'll go from there. But I think where Liverpool will sort of get most joy is getting the ball directly into the channels, getting the ball down the sides. Really, like Everton centre halves going to be uncomfortable in wide areas. Getting Salah, getting Gakpo and getting Núñez in them channels, getting plenty of crosses in, and just making the game frantic and fast and vibrant from the start, I think is the key for Liverpool. Not letting Everton settle, and I think you'll go from there.
OB, I think Trav's having our pants down because he's gone full Mark Lawrenson. He's not predicted a Liverpool loss for about 9 years. Every potty, Trav's like, I think Liverpool will win.
Yeah.
And then we get beat 3-0 every game.
Yeah. No,
I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise. Yeah. I'm really not.
He's in a win-win situation, isn't he? Because ultimately, if it comes off, he's gone, I told you you'd win anyway.
Away.
Yeah, I know your team better than you know them.
No, Wolves away. Come on. Like, Wolves away. Like, they've scored 12 goals all season. I thought, this surely... I'm not just doing it to, like, of law of averages. Genuinely, I'm like, come on. You've got to beat Everton now at home. I know.
I agree.
Yeah,
if you can't beat these, then literally just don't play another game this season. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, this has got to be the time now where you've got to start turning everything into results now. Like you said, forget the performances. You just need a win now. Do you know what I mean?
Trav, can you just get that hook out your mouth and chuck it back to me, please, mate? Is that all right? Come on, mate. Come on. You rose to that. You rose to that one. I think at the end of the day...
Sorry, mate, go on.
I think at the end of the day, I think that we are, at some point, we're going to hit some form. I think we're all expecting us to win these games on a serious note. And I do think that we've got the capability and we've got the players to win these games. And I think
it's just we all kind of,
we all kind of believe at some point it's going to turn round. And we might not even know why. It will just suddenly be a different Liverpool that show up, because for the past sort of 6 years, all three of us have seen Liverpool do some really good stuff. Consistency, throwing teams to the sword with ease. And this is a very different time for them. And a lot of the personnel are still there. So ultimately, we're expecting a pushback at some point, and we're constantly going, yeah, it's going to be this week. Yeah, it's going to be this week. This is the right team to play them. And we are seeing a lot of opposition that are raising the performance, but it's just not the same Liverpool showing up. And like I said before, I can handle that if it's ability, but I can't handle it if it's lack of trying. And that's what bothers me more than anything else. I hope you're right, Scott. I hope they do turn it round. I hope they turn it round in a way that they show a lot of effort on Monday night. I can't see anything else being acceptable to the crowd. Local derby, they just will raise their game, and I think it'll be very different Liverpool.
The thing is with a new manager bounce as well, it's quite often that you get that first game, the adrenaline rush, and then you have a bit of a fall off the second game because adrenaline doesn't last 5 games in a row, does it? So it's back to the grind, back to the normal. But Trav made a good point with the midfield battle. He's obviously watched a lot of Liverpool lately. Probably watches them more than Man United, if truth be told.
He posts about him all the time on Twitter.
Yeah. But Liverpool's midfield, Obi, what is he going to do with midfield? The badge is the man, right? I love the kid, but he's still just a kid. Keita, in my mind, he's already left the club. Like, I wouldn't even have him on the bench. See you later. You might as well leave now. Put him on gardening leave. Thiago is battling well. I've got no problems with Thiago at all. Henderson is going to be wanting to come back in. Fabinho was missing at the weekend because he was ill, apparently. It was reported today. It was nothing to do with a fallout with Klopp. That remains to be seen if it's true. But what is Klopp going to do with this midfield? Because I watched the Everton-Arsenal game, and that Onana was on another level. He will tear our midfield from the last few games apart.
Do you know what, though, Scott? What Klopp has traditionally done in these games, because it's very much a blood and thunder type game, and it will become a blood and thunder type game. More red cards in this fixture than if any other. And I think he might go back to old school. So he might go, let's chuck Milner in there or something like that, because he's done that in quite a few of these Merseyside derbies. He'll put Henderson, he'll put Milner in, he'll probably leave Thiago in, especially if Fabinho isn't quite well enough. Or he just goes Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to chuck any of the young kids in. I'd be very surprised if he did.
It's a bit the Kenny Dalglish approach, that is, isn't it? For a Merseyside derby, he'd always play Scousers if he could. If not Scousers, then English or Brits over any foreigners, because they just got the Merseyside derby more than anyone. What about the front three, Obi? I tweeted during the Wolves game at half-time, we're never going to score ever again. I'm positive of it. So does he risk changing that front three and just trying something a little bit different? Because it's diabolical.
It is. It's strange. God. I don't know. He will have had 9 days of training or 8 days of training to get that right. I would like to think he's been playing about with combinations, rotations, getting the players to talk about when they need to interchange in between positions, because he likes that kind of thing. For me, I'd play Núñez through the middle and play Gakpo out wide and then play Salah out wide. But I want to see something different from Salah. And I want to see him be more direct again. It looks like he's overthinking it, and just stop thinking about the football too much. You know what I mean? Just play on your instinct, because your instincts are up there amongst the best in the world that have been in recent seasons, and get him back to just enjoying his football and playing in a free-flowing way. I would start with that and then look and see if there's an option of bringing Jota or Bobby off the bench, unless he thinks one of them's ready. And then there's an
That's
argument.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. Do you think he'll think
argument,
shit or busting and try to get an hour at least out of Jota and Bobby?
If you play Jota through the middle and Núñez down the left, I think it would look like a very, very different game and a very different proposition for the Everton defenders from the start. I'd love to see Tarkowski up against Núñez, so I think that would be absolutely fantastic viewing. It's a hard one, but he'll be on the training ground. He will have all the data. He will have worked out the combinations. He knows where the players' heads are at. He knows the fitness level. So we've got to leave it up to Klopp to make the right decisions at the end of the day.
One thing I wanted to mention was like sort of a little bit of a passive vote of confidence that the board sort of came out publicly and backed like Jurgen Klopp in terms of his, like, not performance, but just saying like they're still fully behind him and they trust him and stuff. Obviously, you two will know better than myself about this sort of situation, but do you trust the board's word on Klopp? Let's say, for argument's sake, the situation got worse. Thinking back to when you sort of got rid of your other managers like Brendan Rodgers and stuff like that, and I know he's in a different league to those managers, but did the board sort of say similar messages before those managers got sacked? Or
Trav, you need to get off that page. Klopp is unsackable at this point, and
he's bulletproof. Trav, he really is.
Yeah,
bulletproof.
he is bulletproof. It's not even.
Yeah. I'm not trying to wind you up.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to the supporters on side. I think that was more. I saw that, and it looked like to me they were trying to more pacify the supporters than trying to publicly back him. It was more about, look, we agree with you. Klopp is still our man. Nothing's changing. We know this guy's like a messiah to us, and we're going to keep backing him. And that's what it felt like. It felt like FSG, Scott's favourite owners, were just trying to kick us over with one of these kind of passive statements to go, yeah, we think he's great too, which doesn't really mean anything, if we're being honest.
Because there's been a couple of people, like Ian Rush came out on Sky Sports was saying he backs Klopp, he thinks Klopp's the man and stuff like that. And I know Don Hutchinson said a couple of bits on ESPN and stuff. But it was just interesting to see, like you said, I think they're probably responding to some other sections of the fan base getting a little bit disgruntled, not with him per se, but just the situation itself, just like how it's sort of manifesting itself, especially with the new ownership and not being much movement on that publicly yet in terms of what's happening. But now I was just interested to see how you've sort of done it with your other managers as well. Because I know at United, before we sacked Mourinho, we gave him a new contract. Do you know what I mean? That's how the Glazers went on. We gave Mourinho a new contract. Everything was fine. A few months later, I think we lost to you and we were 7th in the league and he was gone. Do you know what I mean? So like, the United fans don't trust our owners. The majority of the United fans do not trust the owners and their actions. Whatever they say, they just take it with a pinch of salt now. And we sort of have come to the end of the tether with that, our ownership. When they say something, we sort of just don't always take it 100% seriously. So I was just wondering how you two felt as Liverpool fans.
Trav, it's a completely valid question at the moment.
Yeah.
If the league started on the 1st of January, we're bottom. We're Liverpool Football Club and we're 10th in the league.
Yeah.
It is a completely valid question. So we don't think you're winding us up asking it.
No, I wasn't.
No.
For the 19th poddy in a row.
Yeah.
But look,
Yeah.
let's just hope that if Klopp gets sacked, it's not FSG doing it because someone else has bought us and they don't fancy Klopp. I can't see that happening. FSG are not sacking him, and I can't imagine a new owner ever thinking it'd be a good idea to replace Klopp with anyone else on the planet. So hopefully these new owners will have a bit of money as well.
I could never actually see him being sacked. As much banter as I say, I could never see him being sacked. I could see him walking. I couldn't see him being sacked. I could never see him being sacked, ever. I just couldn't. I just don't think he would. Don't think the club would do it. Unless it got really bad and he was like 14th or something dumb like that.
Yeah, for 2 or 3 years
There you
in a row.
go, Trav. You've kind of answered your own question then. You are right. He just won't be sacked. And that's it. He's on his own timeline. It doesn't happen very often. I think it happened with Wenger at Arsenal. He was on his own timeline, and it happened with Ferguson at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen to many. I imagine Pep's probably in the same position as well as City, as things stand. So
they decide when they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So back to Monday night. We've gone through, obviously, the defence picks itself. If Van Dijk's fit, he's going to get the nod. Well, it does it. Gomez or Matip. I'd always go with Matip, but people are starting to talk about Joel Matip, OB, like he's had a mad fall off a cliff like Fabinho in the last couple of games. And obviously, Liverpool as a whole haven't been great at all, been getting ripped to shreds. Yeah. But for me, I'd have Matip next to Van Dijk all day.
Yeah, long. I would.
Pretty much any player's a different player with Van Dijk next to them. And Matip's no exception to that. So Trent at right back. Or could there be a shout for putting Gomez at right back in the Merseyside Derby?
Maybe just sit a bit deeper. There is, but he won't. You know what I mean?
Dropping Trent.
Yeah, that won't happen. That won't happen as well because Klopp isn't the sort of guy who will give in to sacrificing his style of football. So as much as we think that would be possibly a reasonable way to go, that won't happen either. So play Trent and Robbo. I'd probably play Van Dijk and Matip, I would have thought.
Sounds good on paper. Let's head straight to the predictions then. Obi, you're the Liverpool fan, so I'll head to you first. Score prediction. I can see you smiling already. I can almost think about what you're gonna say as well.
Right, I'm right. Go on then. Right, I'm gonna go with 3-0 Liverpool.
Oh, 3-0. I was gonna say 3-0. I had it in my hand.
Yeah. 3-0 Liverpool. I think it'll be the one where we finally come back. to something that looks like the way this team are capable of playing, and I think we'll see some standout performances, hopefully from the new lads up front, and maybe a return to form goal for Mo Salah.
Love it. Honestly, I had in my head that you were going to say 3-0. We've only scored about 3 goals in the last 10 games, but we're going to get 3 in 90 minutes. I'm on board. Travis.
Got to go with it.
Travis, you've already said we're going to win.
Yeah, I think you're going to win. I think you're going to win 2-1, but I think it's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be some nervy patches in the game. I don't think it's going to be all free-flowing Liverpool just wipe the floor with them. I genuinely don't. I think it's going to be tight. There's going to be a lot of nerves in the ground, a lot of anxiety about the way you've been playing recently. But I think you'll just get over the line. I think you'll probably take the lead in the game. I think they'll equalise it, be a little bit tight, and I think you'll get the winner and just see it out. Going to be one of those needs-must sort of desperation wins, but it's going to be a big 3 points for you. And like you said, it's going to be hopefully the turning point for a little bit of a run. But like you said, but I can't see Van Dijk not coming straight back into the side. He's got to play if he's fit. So I'm going to go for 2-1 Liverpool, but just.
I hope you're both right. I'm going to talk with my head, not my heart. I think it's going to be 0-0 again, just like Goodison. We can't score at the minute at all. Don't even look like scoring. I think we'll keep it tight at the back. Hopefully Van Dijk will be back, and I think it's going to be another 0-0. I hope I'm wrong. No one wants that on Monday Night Football when you've got the Monday blues because the weekend's over. You've been back
again, mate.
Everyone will be Well, I can just picture it all on Twitter. They'll be going for Jurgen Klopp. Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? Why did he start him? Why did he start him? I can picture it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope OB's right, and I hope Travis was close.
And if you lose, just cancel the podcast till May, mate. Just cancel it.
If we lose,
the problem is we get exposed to you on Twitter when you retweet stuff about Liverpool about 20 times a day, mate. So it's like, God. Oh my goodness, this guy's obsessed. You know,
no, mate. I can't get away from it. It's just bad.
I know.
Listen, if we get beat on Monday night, I can safely say the pod will be cancelled Tuesday night. It's a bit like it's my ball, so I'm going home with it. It's my podcast, so I won't be inviting yous. And Trav, you'll be getting muted on WhatsApp. Can't say fairer than that, yeah?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right, boys, Tuesday night is going to happen because the Mighty Reds are going to bank 3 points, and it's going to be a turning point in our season, and you're all going to join us Tuesday night for these two thoughts on it. And join me. So if you like what you've heard so far, press that like and subscribe. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday. Cheers, gents.